The Detroit Lions had an amazing 2022 season, and with multiple good draft picks in the upcoming draft, the question is, who will the Lions take? Now, first up, I just want to get the quarterback situation out of the way. I don't think the Lions will draft a quarterback. There's a chance, I guess they could. Brad Holmes decides to, I'll fully support it, but otherwise, I don't think the Lions will. And if you're saying we should draft a quarterback because Goff is a problem, then you're out of your fucking mind. I'm not trying to be an asshole, but I guess I kind of am. Goff put up insane numbers. He was one of the top 5 QBs in the NFL. He had a 15-0 touchdown to interception ratio for the final 9 games of this season. He's on a 324 pass streak without throwing an interception, which ranks 5th in NFL history, and it's still going. So if you think Goff is the problem, you're the problem. And if the Lions do end up deciding to draft a quarterback, I don't think it's like the worst decision in the world, but they're definitely not doing it because they need a replacement for Goff. And also, whoever Brad Holmes decides to draft, I will fully support because he has the biggest brain, and none of our brains are capable of understanding his thought process, and he sees the future. Now, the Detroit Lions have pick 6 and pick 18 in the first round. And as you know, there are multiple teams in the hunt for quarterbacks this draft, especially the Panthers, the Colts, and the Texans. Still can't believe the Texans screwed themselves out of the first round pick, but it's just classic Texans at this point. Now, with talk about the Lions draft and everyone's mock draft, there's a lot of discussion that the Panthers and the Lions there may be a possibility that they trade there. Maybe they swap 6 and 9 so the Panthers can draft a quarterback and then the Lions get another pick or 2 picks with it. I think they could definitely work out. I feel like the Panthers might want to go higher though and try to get the Bears pick, but I don't know if they'd be able to achieve that or not. The thing with the Lions is that they're obviously going to be focusing on defense. Their secondary was the roughest part of their team and their ability to stop the run. And sadly for the Lions, the corners this season don't look like they're the strongest class, and nobody the Lions want probably will be gone in the first few picks. And of course, who the Lions draft will depend on what free agents they decide to re-sign. With the Lions' first pick of the draft, whether it's at pick 6 or if they trade with Carolina, maybe it's a possibility pick 9. A good option for them would be Brian Branch, a defensive back from Alabama. Branch would be a great fill-in for Will Harris, who's been playing safety but wasn't really as productive as safety and kind of moved to corner. This pick also just makes a lot of sense to me because I don't think the Lions will re-sign Will Harris, but I guess they could, but I honestly don't think they will. Another possibility for the Lions pick number 6 in the draft is Devon Witherspoon, cornerback from Illinois. It's pretty self-explanatory. The Lions need cornerbacks, and Devon Witherspoon is probably the best prospect coming out of this draft in the cornerback position. Now, when comparing these two, Branch may be too aggressive to take that early. His versatility of what positions he can play multiple positions, is what really makes him a higher prospect in the draft. He can fill in multiple roles and still perform at a high level. But I can see someone saying it's too early in the draft to take him. And also the possibilities of a strong quarterback being available at pick number 6. Do the Lions take a strong quarterback there? I don't know, because next year's class seems like it's going to be a lot stronger. Overall, for the Lions pick number 6, I like Witherspoon the best. He'd instantly come in and be a CB1 for the Lions. He looks really strong. Watching him play instantly improve the Lions defense and mainly their secondary, which that's where they really need the help. But again, I don't think he's gonna go that fast if the Lions don't draft him, so I feel like ideally we trade with Carolina, the Lions get some extra draft picks, and then we still get Witherspoon at pick number 9. The next prospect the Lions could end up taking is Bijan Robinson, running back from Texas. The idea of the Lions signing a running back I really like. We have Swift, we're gonna have Jamal Williams back. I'm like 99.99% sure the Lions will re-sign him, and a third one to complete that running back trifecta would really help the Lions, especially if Swift got injured. Some pros for Bijan Robinson is, one, he doesn't have any past injuries, or he doesn't seem like he'll be injury prone, and the way he's built doesn't look or suggest that he'll have to deal with a lot of injuries and be out a lot. And also, he looks like he'll be able to come in and be an elite running back in the NFL. Another possible prospect for the Lions in the first round is Kelly Ringo, cornerback from Georgia. Again, obviously, it would really help the Lions secondary. He looks strong. I think I'd personally rather have Witherspoon. Just watching the tapes, he seems like the more solid defender, but I would not be upset with Ringo as well. Another possible prospect for the Detroit Lions is edge rusher Zach Harrison from OSU. The Lions have drafted 2 edge rushers in the past 2 years with Aiden Hutchinson and Josh Pascal, but you do need depth, and he would definitely be adding depth to the Lions defense, helping them out in that position, and he's not going to go that early. I would say he'd probably go early 3rd round, late 2nd round in the draft, so the Lions could pick him maybe in their 48th pick of the draft or 59th pick of the draft, which are both in the late 2nd round. Another possible 2nd rounder for the Detroit is Osiris Torrance, a guard from the Gators. He would really fill in that last spot the Lions need in their offensive line and really just establish the Lions as probably the best offensive line in the NFL. That's probably just my bias talking there, but the Lions, they need a guard. They need to fill that last spot on the offensive line, and he's a great man to do it. Another prospect the Lions could pick if he's available in their 39th or 48th pick is Kalijah Kancey, a defensive tackle from Pitt. Now this also would depend if the Lions don't take defensive line in the early 1st round, which I don't think they will. I think they'll probably focus on a corner, but I think Kancey would be a great pick for the Lions. He'd really help out the defense, and that's what the Lions need. Stop that run. Now next up, we have Noah Sewell, linebacker from Owen. He'd probably go in the 3rd round. The Lions have the 81st pick in the 3rd round. His prospect ranking has dropped down a little bit since last year, but some people say that's due to just the changes of coaches and the schemes, which is probably true, but just look at his brother. His brother's fantastic, amazing, loves Detroit. Who wouldn't love to have both the brothers on the same team kicking ass? Another potential 2nd rounder for the Lions is Emmanuel Forbes. It kind of depends on who they take in the 1st round. Even if they take a cornerback in the 1st round, like if they take Witherspoon, Emmanuel Forbes would just really add more depth to the position, make their defense that much better, and just have another cornerback. The Lions need cornerbacks. Someone else the Lions could consider taking in the 2nd round is Darnell Washington, tight end from Georgia. A lot of people don't think the Lions need to take a tight end, and I disagree with that. I think the Lions definitely need more depth in that position, and both their tight ends are young, so I guess adding a 3rd young tight end could be a fix if they wanted to just really grow their whole tight end position from the ground up, or if they ended up taking someone like a veteran like Everett from the free agency. That can be a move. I mentioned a lot of different possibilities in my last video about what the Lions will do in their free agency. The only thing about Washington is taking him in the 2nd round might be too aggressive, as the Lions really need to focus on their defense, so I'd rather them take a strong corner in the 2nd round rather than Washington. But Washington, I could see it happening. Another possible pick, the Lions could take guard USC Andrew Voorhees. The Lions again need to fill that last spot in the offensive line. If they do it earlier, this won't obviously happen, but if the Lions haven't done it yet, round 3 comes along, he's on the table for their pick. I could see Voorhees going to the Lions and filling that last spot and being a solid guard. Another prospect the Lions could end up taking, this would definitely be later in the draft, but Jair Brown, safety, Penn State. He had a great season, great past 2 seasons. He's shown he can be really strong, and this would add depth to the Lions safety position behind Kirby Joseph and Tracy Walker. He'd probably be able to help on the special teams, just would help the defense, definitely add depth in case of injuries. Next up, this would be later, but Jake Moody, or just the Lions taking a kicker in general, is an interesting topic. The Lions already have Michael Badgley, who finished off the season strong and was a really reliable kicker for the Lions, who I really liked. Now, I feel like he doesn't have a super long range. I feel like he's not kicking them from the 45. And maybe Moody would be able to do that better than Badgley, but we already have Badgley, so I'm not too concerned about taking a kicker, but I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comments. And the last person or prospect I'm going to cover today, I know there's probably a ton, or not probably, there is a ton I've missed, and there's a ton of people I haven't talked about, and it's still early, so comment below what you think. I'm not saying this is everybody, but the last prospect that would be definitely later in the draft, probably around 5 or 6, is Jaden Reed, wide receiver from Michigan. I really like our wide receiver depth right now, but maybe we don't re-sign Chark next year, and we have openings, and Jaden Reed really showed, in my opinion, that he was crazy for Michigan State. Probably more bias coming out because I'm a Spartan fan. But Jaden Reed was solid. He was strong. I saw him make crazy catches all year long. Toss the ball up to him, he'd catch it. The past few years, he's made catches like that. So I'd like to see him play for the Lions. I think he's an underrated wide receiver in the league. And that is going to be the end of this video. If you guys enjoy my content, I'd really appreciate if you could like and subscribe. It really helps me out a lot. And once again, thanks for watching.